starting our power rankings. This is going to be a fun one, a different one. Our NFL power rankings are Phoenix Weekly Pro Power Rankings, sponsored by BuyThePhoenix.com, the Phoenix, a revolutionary technology helping men all across America get back to their best in the bedroom. Visit BuyThePhoenix.com to learn more. So this week, we thought it'd be interesting to go into the worst position groups in championship weekend. The spots on each team we think are actually the weakest.
All right, number one, the absolute worst. I'm going with the 49ers and Brock Purdy. He's a rookie quarterback on a big stage facing the number one pass defense. I think this is going to be a tough test for him. And just because he is a rookie and there are so many unknowns, I'm ranking that as the worst. Then I'm going to go with Patrick Mahomes' injury. So many question marks. Is he going to be able to, show his same athleticism? Is he going to even play a full game? What are we going to see from Patrick Mahomes? Don't know. I mean, obviously he's going to say the right things, and so is Andy Reid. I mean, he could go out there and look phenomenal. But I have a hard time believing it with that high ankle sprain. Number 3, I'm going with the Bengals offensive line. It's not an ideal situation for Joe Burrow and the Bengals, but we have seen them overcome it before, so I'm not going to rank it as the absolute worst. I've got it at number 3. Then number 4, I'm going with the Chiefs defense. KC, they let teams hang around. They don't win by margin. We've talked about it over and over again on this show. So even with a healthy Mahomes, they're not winning by margin. So I think that's a big worry for me. Chiefs defense in at number 4. And I'm going to go with, you got to find a flaw with this team. It's the Eagles' run defense. Really no surprise. They rank 21st in rush DVOA. They're very good at, defending the pass, but it's kind of like if you've got to find a flaw with the Eagles, for me, it's their run defense. It's kind of a wart for the team, but hey, none of these teams are perfect. So I'm the least worried about the Eagles run defense, but it is a concern.
All right, bottom 5 units. I'm going to start with number 5, working my way up, and I'm going to go with the Bengals offensive line in that spot. It would be tough for most NFL fans to name a few of the starting linemen that we had, and I didn't want to put them in the top 3 because how much does it matter? We got it again. Burrow with a bad offensive line, and they dominated the game. Dominated the game against the Bills. Or Jackson Carman at left tackle, Hakeem Adeniji at right tackle, Max Sharping at right guard. If they're out there again, are they going to be able to get it done? I don't know, but I had to put them in the mix. Bengals offensive line 5th. 4th, Aaron's right. You got to double dip with one team, and I double dipped with the Bengals. Also 4th, cornerback. Eli Apple's a bum. I can't wait to see him burnt this weekend. I hope that happens. This guy was talking trash about Damar Hamlin. Now, he denied it, and certain players who were on the league saw right through him. Shaq Lawson was like, you're going to get your butt kicked for real, on Twitter. And I think he was too. I mean, get out of here. Listen, and they've got a rookie on the other side of Eli Apple. I mean, this is a guy that has been burnt. So I'm going to put Bengals cornerbacks at number 4. Number 3, same thing as Aaron. Position group, I wasn't sure what to do because it's a front 7 in general, but also a front 7 that had 70 sacks. So you don't want to do that with this Eagles, but run defense. That's the way you have to go with that. I mean, 3rd most sacks in NFL history. So I want to be specific on that. I don't want to say defensive linemen or linebackers because they have some terrific players there, but their run defense certainly suspect. Number 2, I went Niners quarterback, Brock Purdy. So, I mean, even if it's Jimmy Garoppolo, which it's not going to be, we don't think, he's not going to be 100%. But Brock Purdy, all of a sudden, you get some pressure on him last week against the Cowboys. How great did he look? Neither team able to score 20 points. So, rookie quarterbacks in this spot, championship weekend, historically, have not been great. And here you go. Here you go, another week with a defense that can put pressure on opposing quarterbacks. So let's see how it works out. Number 1, I thought this was simple. It's a Chiefs quarterback. It's either going to be a compromised Mahomes or it's going to be Chad Henne. And right now, the point spread is telling us that it's going to be Chad Henne. I don't necessarily agree with that. I mean, there's a ton going on here to discuss, but either way, it is the most important position in the sport. And we're talking about the team that has the biggest advantage of any team still alive because of Mahomes. Then all of a sudden they're going to get a guy, on a 6-week injury out there hobbling around again, maybe, or Chad Henne. Changes everything. Trust Andy Reid, but this is a problem. Worst position group. I've got to go Chiefs quarterback number 1. It's the biggest story of the championship Sunday.
My number 5, I mean, we all have to have him on the list. It's a matter of where we put him. I put Brock Purdy in the Niners quarterback situation at 5. He's still playing well enough, but you could see it, right? You could see this thing's leaking oil here. The last 2 weeks, he's just dying to throw a pick. I mean, the Seahawks should have had him for 2. The Cowboys should have had him for 1. And this feels like the week on the road against a good pass rush where he's going to throw an interception or 2. So I have Purdy in the Niners quarterback situation at number 5. At number 4, I went specific on the Eagles linebackers. I just think that's the weakness. Now, I think part of their run defensive issues is it's the philosophy, right? That they want to stop the pass. You want to run for 4 or 5 yards a spot, go for it. They don't care. But they also have a guy on a 1-year deal in Kaiser White and an undrafted free agent in TJ Edwards. Now, Edwards has turned into a pretty nice player, but that's not where their high-level skill is. Like, that's not where their first-round picks are or their high-paid players are. It's a soft part of the defense. It's on purpose, but it's true. Eagles linebackers at 4. I might surprise you on this one, guys. I'm going with the 49ers cornerbacks at 3. I think they could be beaten. I think they are a product of that pass rush and the linebackers and Paul's guy Hufanga. I just think those guys are only okay. I mean, and look, first game of the playoffs, Metcalf burned them deep, over 100 yards. CeeDee Lamb over 100 yards. I look at the game on Sunday, and I think the Eagles are going to try to throw the ball down the field against them. Whether it's Devontae Smith or A.J. Brown, I think they could be had if the quarterback has time to throw. I'll go 49ers corners at number 3. At number 2, I'm going with the Chiefs defensive backs. I don't think those guys are very good. I think you could – I mean, all year you've been able to throw on the Chiefs. And I don't know if there's a standout back there. I mean, they're okay. There's a bunch of okay guys, but I think you could throw the ball down the field on the Chiefs. And at number 1, I'm going with the Bengals offensive line. They held up last week. They did a good job. But was that because the Bills couldn't rush the quarterback? Was that because Joe Burrow got the ball out of his hands quickly? Was it because the snow and the wet field didn't allow them to get their traction, the Bills pass rush? I don't know. But it feels like we're doing last year all over again. Joe Burrow behind a patchwork offensive line, going to try to make the Super Bowl. I still think they're the biggest weakness of all of this. And last year, look, the Bengals almost won it, but how did the Super Bowl end? Aaron Donald got pressure and hit Joe Burrow. Like, eventually, this gets you. Whether it's this week or next week, I don't know. But I still think they're the worst group left in the postseason. So I go Bengals offensive line at number 1, worst positional group. So it's going to be interesting because I'm sure, if we're saying it, these coaches know it. So, like, Chris Jones is probably smiling from ear to ear today because he gets a chance to go up against that offensive line. And I'm sure Joe Burrow is looking at these lists and saying, hey, I got to throw against those corners. It's fun because these games are tight. I mean, we have such low spreads that a little weakness could decide these games.